Hello, everybody. It is playoff time. I was going to do a Week 18 recap, but I just forgot. But the important thing is that the Chicago Bears have gotten the first overall pick. And what the hell? Okay, only 6 rounds are an option. The hell happened to the 7th round? Okay, well then. Anyway, without further ado, Week 18 recap. Let's just do this quick. But what we're actually doing is predicting the playoffs. We're gonna do the wild card round. So, quick Week 18 recap. Um, Before we start, a few great games. Um, got the first seed. Great game right there. Um, Bears got the first overall pick. Packers got eliminated. That's all that matters. Our playoff teams for the wild card round. We're just gonna do wild card round this episode, but I'm gonna do a full playoff video for this one, and then I'm gonna do a mock draft video. Now that we've actually clinched the first overall pick. So the first, we're gonna go in order. First game is tomorrow around 4. I'm gonna be gone, uh, but I'll try to watch this game maybe on the radio or something. Seattle Seahawks versus the 49ers. Now let's be honest. Everyone is favoring the 49ers in this game, and for good reason. The Niners are one of the most complete teams in the NFL right now. And I don't really know if there is a more complete team. They are so good on the offense that they have a Mr. Irrelevant named Brock Purdy, now relevant. It's just they're dominant. Since they started off rough, they lost to my Bears by multiple scores. Um, and they lost a few rough games versus teams they shouldn't have lost to. But at the end of the day, they haven't lost in God knows when. The Seahawks, though. Let's take a look at the records. So, started off rough. Terrible losses and a 3-4 start. Lost to the Bears, 0-1. Good blowout win over Seattle, where it realistically should have been a shutout or 3 points because that only touchdown was off of special teams play. But touchdown's a touchdown. 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 3-4. But since then, they have not lost. They even shut out a team. And some of these wins have not been close. 17 points, 25 points, 28 points. Domination. Now let's see their opponent. Seattle Seahawks. Coming off a 9-8 record on a season that people really overlook. I had the Seahawks being garbage. I think 5-12. I think, and I was wrong about them. A lot of people were. People predicted the Seahawks to be what the Broncos were this year. 5-4 win team with a bad quarterback. But it's safe to say the Seahawks, well, they're not going to be contenders. They're not going to be winning Super Bowls or anything. They're but they're better set up for the future than we thought they would be. Way better set up. Um, so let's take a quick review of their season. Very close win over the Broncos. Blowout loss, another loss. So, and look at this, 48 points against the good Detroit Lions team. Lost to the Saints, ugly win. Good win. I mean, these have been pretty good wins. They've scored a lot of points. They're an electric offense. And they're coming off some momentum with two wins over mid teams. The Jets really aren't a mid team. They just have a garbage quarterback. Now, looking at this, looking at these two teams, both winning record teams. I'm just gonna, what the fuck? At the end of the day, I gotta go with the Niners, and I'm going to say the prediction for the Niners is Niners. I think it's gonna be a blowout, 33 to 20. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings versus the New York Football Giants. New York Football Giants 9-7 and 1 tie looks ugly as hell. So let's go over the away team first. The Giants, started off 2-0. Ugly wins against bad teams. Beat by the Cowboys. A I believe if the Bears were fully healthy and it was post week 7, Bears would have won that game. Avalis Jones fumble kind of sealed it for us, but a win's a win. Then they beat the Packers, and they went on this winning streak before finally losing to the Seahawks. Another win. Then they lost to the Lions, which I predicted. Then another loss to the Giants. And this was a rough stretch, kind of a collapse for the Giants. It went 0-3-1 in this stretch. For finally getting a much needed win over the Commanders. Then a tough loss to the Vikings, but they pretty much locked up a playoff spot with a win over the Colts. Overall, not a good divisional record, not a good conference record, but they aren't a bad team. They have a lot of strong teams, and I think they're underrated. Now let's look at the 13-4 Vikings. Fuck. NFC North champs. So, they started off fucking up the Green Bay Packers before getting fucked up themselves by the Eagles. But after that, they didn't lose a game till week 11, and what a loss that was. And they should have, let's be fair, they should have lost this game. That was a fluke, but a win's a win. And they went to the AFC East land, beat them handily, lost a game to the Lions, which I really predicted. I that Lions team, they deserve to be in the playoffs way more than way more than the other teams do. If only they won one of these games earlier in the season. Um, but yeah, looking at the Vikings, they finished up strong. The greatest comeback of all time occurred in Week 15. That was insane. Then they had a nice win over the Vikings. They got blown out by the Packers, and then got a. I'm not even gonna talk about that. That was a free win. They got a free win versus the Bears. That was meaningless. I mean, when you're playing Nathan Peterman, if you don't win, that's just an embarrassment. That being said, the Vikings, on paper, they look really good, but they're pretty much all their wins have been one score. They have a negative point differential, I think. I don't know how you have a negative point differential at 13-4, but they managed to. But even as a biased Bears fan, 13-4 record, I don't think they're going to be first round exits. And I say they're going to play a game where they're pretty much they come out and they look like frauds, but I don't think they're going to be bad enough to. They're going to win a playoff game. I think this team's good enough to win a playoff game and, you know, do something at least. They're a good team. Fraudulent or not, they're still a good team. Wait, what time is the game at though? Um, I'd say prime time, so that might be rough. But I think the Vikings will narrowly scrape by in a thriller, 29-27. But 30-27. I think it's gonna be either a game-winning field goal or a touchdown drive or something. Next up, the Bucks versus the Cowboys. Um, the Bucks. Let's take a look at the Bucks. They have not been good this year. They're a shell of their former self. Started off hot, two dominant wins. They barely lost to the Packers. Pretty much blown out by the Chiefs. Garbage time makes it look more close than it was. Then a solid win over the Falcons, but then a three-game really rough stretch, including a blowout loss to the Panthers of all teams. But they got back to form for the most part and finished up strong. And then they clinched. They played in a terrible division. Look at this, 7-10. If they were to have lost any of these games, oh, no, even if they lost, yeah, that is a sign of a garbage division. If you could have made the playoffs with a 7-10 record, that is um that is astounding. That is, I mean, if it were like the other way around, but yeah, 8-9, just not good, just not good. And who are they facing? The Cowboys. Now, yeah, they beat them, but good win over the Bengals, good win over the Giants. They started off hot, 4-1 record, got beat by the Vikes, blew up my Bears, blew out my Lions, lost to the Packers, destroyed the Vikings, just utterly dominating teams. Um, oh, but this is a hard one. I generally don't know who wins. I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys, although I don't. It's just like Brady's gonna win another ring. He's gonna go to another team and he's going to win a ring by the 2025 season. So by February of 2026, he is going to win a ring. He's going to play till he's 50 or until he wins a ring. I think if he once he reaches 50, what he's gonna do is gonna wait till the playoffs. He's gonna sign off a team he thinks is gonna win the Super Bowl, and coast his way on the bench as like a mentor role. He's gonna retire a Super Bowl champ. Now that he got divorced and he's with some new girl. He's going all in. One more ring. And I think this is gonna be a time where it's like, okay, I gotta get off this team, go to a real team, get a ring in the next few years, then retire off to the Bahamas. However, it's gonna be way closer. Give me the Cowboys ugh, to win this one 25-23. Now over to the AFC. The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars coming off a terrible start, including a rough loss to the Commanders to start off, but two blowout wins which showed their potential. But then people are like, "Oh, it's the same old Jaguars with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a five-game losing streak, including a loss to the former worst team in the league, and in my opinion, the worst team in the league, not counting record, the Houston Texans, and they bounced back. And since then, with the exception of a expected loss to the Chiefs and a blowout loss to the Lions, they have been on fire, beating good team after good team after good team, blowing out the Texans, just beating the Titans, the Jets, the Cowboys, the Titans again, the Ravens. This is a very solid team. Now, who are they facing? The 10-7 Chargers. And they got some impressive wins on their resume too. Uh, 30 points against the Browns, against the Texans. Ugly win versus the Chargers. These really aren't impressive wins. Nail biter versus the Cardinals. Nail biter versus the Falcons. Um, yeah, not a lot of impressive wins actually. Now that I think about it, yeah, this is I wish we had a schedule like this. I mean, they're in my opinion the most impressive win they had is I don't know. I don't know. Justin Herbert is elite. Trevor Lawrence is also elite. He's always been QB1 in the 2021 draft class. Justin Fields second, and then probably Mac Jones in third. But yeah, there's a reason Trevor Lawrence was taken first overall. Why the Jaguars willingly grossly tanked an entire season away for him, and that is why. That's why the Bears tanked this season too. They're not going to get a quarterback, but they know that this is a decent quarterback class. They're going to tank. Tanking, works wonders, and the Jags are proof of it. And I know the Chargers have a better record, but I think the combination of just the momentum the Jags have, especially beating a division rival at home, the fact that it is a home game, and I think the first home game playoff since I don't know when I would have to imagine the 2017 AFC Championship maybe. Um, I'm gonna look that up actually quickly. Um, Location Australia, Asia. No, I. Okay, so it was at New England. Okay, so this is their first playoff home game, and probably since 2017, wild card or divisional. I don't know, but I have them winning. Do I think they're gonna stand up against the elite contenders? No, but they're gonna win a playoff game. And And for a team that has four combined wins since 2000, since January of 2020, four combined wins in two seasons. Um, since before this season, four combined. I think that's an accomplishment. To go from a 1-win season to a 3-win season to a 9-win season with a playoff berth, with a division championship, and with a playoff win. Give me the Jags to win this one 20-18. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals, a AFC North rival matchup. The Bengals are 12-4 because of the canceled game, because of the tragic injury of Damar Hamlin. Thankfully, he's for the most part fully recovered. The Ravens are sitting at 10-7, but it's not a really convincing 10-7. They started off strong with Lamar Jackson, blowout win over Joe Flacco led Jets. A horrendous should have been a win, but a horrendous choke job versus two on the Dolphins. Then they whipped back to shape, um, beat the Patriots by multiple scores, kept up with a good Bills team, beat a Super Bowl contending Bengals team, lost to the Giants, beat the Browns, Bucks, Saints, Panthers before falling to. But this is when the injury started to affect them, and you can see it with the quality of their wins. They are still able to win games, yes, but you can see the offensive output um, since the bye has been lackluster, with the exception of this game. 10, and they still managed to win. 16, still managed to win though. 3 points, 17 points. I mean, the absence of Lamar Jackson and his playmakers have been very apparent. It's a very injury riddled team, but you still managed to get to the playoffs thanks to a solid stretch here and a very top heavy AFC, which left the 6 and 7 seeds for the most part wide open. So they kind of got lucky. Now, who are they playing, though? The Bengals. And the Bengals started off 0-2. People were saying, oh, they're frauds. One and done. Super Bowl hangover. But they bounced back. Two solid wins over the Jets and the Dolphins. Of course, they lost to the Bengals, but look at this 30, 35 points. Uh, uncharacteristic. Yeah, uncharacteristic loss to the on Halloween. But look, it's 42 points, 37 points. Low scoring game, 27, 27, 23, 34. Just massive. Um, and then we'll just call that a tie. That didn't happen. Um, but yeah, Bengals. They're a dominant team. Um, oh, I I don't see them losing this game at home. I just don't see it. I think this is going to be a blowout. Give me the Bengals to win this one 31 to 14 to 13. And then finally, the last wild card game of the week. Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins 9-8, coming in as the 7th seed. Started off hot with crazy wins, but they lost 3 straight, including a blowout loss by the Jets. Lost to the Vikings, but then they rattled off 5 straight wins. In my opinion, that should have been a win by the Bears. That was bullshit what happened, but in the retrospect, 14 and 13. While winning that game would have been nice right after. Grand scheme of things, it's better that we lost. Blowout win. But then everything went to Hill because that's when Tua got hurt. Tua had been injured. He came back to play the Packers, but ever since then it's been downhill. Blowout losses by the Niners, and then most of these were close games for the most part. That was a good game. They're a good team, and I think they'll give the Bills a rough time. Let's check in on the Bills. Started off hot with blowout wins. A 72 to 17 point differential week 2. Then they got their first loss week 3, but after that, 4 straight wins including a win over a Super Bowl contending Chiefs. An uncharacteristic 2-game losing streak, but since then they have not lost. They have not lost. Now they haven't really played the best teams, but still they have not lost. They have blown out their opponents. 35 against the Bears, 35 against the Patriots, 28 versus the Lions. Not really a blowout. 31 versus the Browns. The Bills are winning this game. Give me the Bills to win this 38 to 24. Actually 27. I think the Dolphins will get a garbage time touchdown to make it look a little close. And then, as you know, 29. And then the last play of the game, the Bills will take a intentional safety. Anyway, those have been my playoff predictions.